What's going on, everyone? Welcome, Rabid here, and it looks like we got a new bit stream available for the E300 and all the other Osprey FPGAs out there. So if we go into their website, it looks like Kylacoin is now available. So dear everyone, warning, E300 firmware will be automatically updated if you don't opt out. We'll run through that in a minute here. We will release version N1.0.19 at 12 p.m. June 23rd, 2023. So pretty much midnight tonight, or I guess yesterday at the time of recording. So right now it's not yet released, but when you're viewing this, it's most likely released at this point, and all your Ospreys will auto update. Now, if it doesn't, or you opted out already, you can manually update it, and that's what I'm going to do here by downloading the latest version here, and we'll update the firmware. And again, we'll go through the commands of opting in and opting out. There's some recommended pools here for the three various coins: Kaspa, Ironfish, and Kylacoin. I think Kaspa is still probably the most profitable to mine, but as we know, those ASICs are coming in, and it's nice to have other options to move these FPGAs to. So let's get into this. There is a sheet here as well, actually, that kind of goes through this. So I'm going to test these overclock settings here, and I'm going to try to tweak them to a little less voltages, which we found in Ironfish. We could drop these a little bit more, get a little better efficiencies, but we'll see what we do. Here's a nice base clock here sheet to kind of base everything off of. So we're going to go through that and see what things look like. So I did download the firmware already, so we're going to stop our miner here because we don't want to be mining anything when we're doing this type of operations. You know, it could be fine, but it's just better practice. So if we go to update firmware here on the left, here's your enable auto update feature. Right now, with that clicked on, you cannot do a manual install of any firmware, and if you have this clicked on, as soon as they do push that update, it will automatically update on its own, which means you're probably going to lose all your miner will shut off and so on. You'll probably quit mining if this happens while you're sleeping or something. So anyway, we're going to uncheck this, hit the save button, hit OK, and now we have the ability to manually upgrade the firmware. So I'm going to go to choose file here, go to the download we just got, and here is the ZYNQ firmware.tar. Now, I was getting a wallet. I almost clicked on that as my firmware. That would be a bad idea. So we do got to put in this. We don't have to unzip it or anything. Simply go to there and then update firmware. So we're going to click on that. It's going to upload everything, do the updating process. We'll kick back once it is complete. All right, so it has been about 5 minutes or so. I went and had a drink and stuff, and I came back. It's still on this, so I'm just going to refresh at this point. So I'm going to hit the refresh button, go back into our firmware, and we can see we are updated. So it won't pop anything up for you. It'll just take a little bit of time, refresh the browser, and it's there. So if we go to our miner, we should have a new miner now. Here we can see Kylacoin dev fee will be charged by a developer, K1 Labs, 15%. So the dev fee is fairly high right now. We're going to come in here. Now we can see K1 Lab is now an option to choose. And now we're going to go configuration method. We're going to go menu. We're going to stay on this one right here. Auto start, Kylacoin. So now we can choose between Kaspa, ETC hash, Ironfish, Kylacoin. I'm just going to double check and make sure if anything else has Kylacoin. Okay, does Team RedMiner have it? So now, I don't know, there might be different hash rates and power consumption. So that's interesting. I might have to try multiple miners because obviously here, this one has the highest dev fee. You want to use the lowest fee as possible. But I think it's only available for K1, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna have to try it. So we're gonna set this up with K1 here and see how it goes. And I believe K1 miner is also gonna be the one that's available once Radiant RXD does emerge in who knows how long at this point. It's supposed to be out a while ago, but they've been still doing some tweaking. Regardless, let's try to set this up on Kylacoin at K1. So I am going to start with the top guy right here, 900 on the core, 835 millivolts, and then I'll tweak the millivolts down depending how the FPGAs do respond and quit and so on to try and get our efficiency as high as we can. But a few things we got to keep in mind. I do have the Noctua fan kit, which keeps this thing nice and quiet. So I'm going to make sure my VRM temps here do not hit 90 degrees. You know, 88 or something, I'm probably going to have to dial it down and try something else if we get to those levels. But slower, quiet fans, unlike the loud 6,000 RPM fans, allow for less airflow, so less cooling. So you definitely got to have that in the back of your mind instead of just overclocking this and then overheating it and causing something to melt on you. So I did set my voltages here across them at 835, and again it can be minus a couple and ahead a couple. It bounces back and forth. So now we're going to actually set up our miner because our core will be set in here. So our core, we're actually going to be going 900 on the bad boy here. Oh, we're in Team RabidMiner. Let's go back to K1 and FPGA core clock. So we're going to go 900 at this point. And now we got to input our pool and our wallet address. All right, so I think I have everything set up. We're on K1 Lab here. We are sitting on the algo of Kylacoin. Pool, I'm at viper.net on the variable difficulty stratum port here. And my wallet, my Kylacoin wallet here, worker ID is Rabid E300, and my FPGA core clock 900. I'm assuming if I just put in one, it'll count it for them all, but we'll see what happens. Maybe I got to put a comma in between each one, but I'll start with this and see what it looks like once everything starts loading. All right, so I actually dropped this down to one step below 850 on the core and 795 on the voltage, because at the wall I was around 940 watts, which is 900 max on 120 volt of my 1200 watt server power supply. And my temperature on FPGA 0 here shot up to about 86 really fast. So I'm just gonna hit F5 here, see what we're at right now. So it looks like about 67. Things are looking good. We are mining right now at the pool Viper, so things are looking all right. Accepted shares, and I'm not used to this algorithm. It's something about gas mining and whatever's going on there, but things are looking okay. The pool is being detected here. We can see we're getting hash rate and everything, so I'm going to leave it for a little bit, see what things kind of look like in terms of hash rates. All right, so I don't see it kind of saying which FPGA is which, like 0, 1, or 2. So it's looking like everything is doing about 6.8 gigahash. So if we times that by 3 for the E300, that is about 20.4 gigahash, which is what the sheet is telling us we should do at these settings. So I'm assuming that's pretty much how this is playing out here. What do we got up here? Start mining, low watermark breach, whatever that means. I don't know what that means. You know, I'm not used to what this algorithm and coin is, but it's looking like 6.8 gigahash per FPGA for a total of 20.4 gigahash on Kylacoin at these settings. And we are rocking like 829 watts at the wall right now. And to see if another miner will work for Kylacoin, if we click on Team RabidMiner, then as soon as we select Kylacoin, it defaults back to K1. So we can only use K1 miner here or K1 lab with a 15% fee for Kylacoin. And I think that's going to be the same miner that's going to be used when Radiant does release. Again, we got to wait and see if Team RabidMiner releases it and so on in the future. But right now, this is kind of how it's sounding, is K1 Lab will also be the miner used for Radiant. But we'll just have to find out. All right, so I ran through all the various different overclock settings and everything so far, and you can see here in red, obviously the one that uses the highest clock speed, highest hash rate is the least efficient. So if you have cheap power, that doesn't matter for you, but if you have expensive power, then it might. And leading down, so I did go all the way down to 600 on the core, 600 on the voltages for the core. That was 311 watts at 14.4 gigahash, works out to 46.302 megahash per watt of power used. And then from there I just upped it until the FPGAs quit at 620. So 620 at 600 millivolts you can run here. This did turn into my most efficient setting at 321 watts at the wall and 14.88 gigahash for a hash to watt ratio or megahash to watt ratio of 46.355. Now my numbers are a little bit higher in terms of wall power than what Osprey has in their sheet. I'm thinking maybe it has to do with 240 volt versus 120. My power supply is set at 900. On 240 volt it would be 1200 watts, and that means you would be running closer at these ranges here in your peak efficiency of 50%, depending on the power supply you're using. Also, the fans ramped up because I have less voltage there. The PSU fans ramped up a bit more because of heat, and that caused more power as well. But this is the complete system with the power supply at the wall based on my testing on 120 volt. So obviously there is a lot more tweaking I can do here, like picking a middle range and upping or dropping the voltages just to try to match the same hash rate and get better efficient numbers. But until we actually need this, I do think Kylacoin is a nice addition to these FPGA miners. I think Kaspa is obviously still the most profitable. We'll look at the profitability here in a minute, but until we actually need to move on to these other coins, then I feel we don't really need to really tweak for them yet. But it is coming. Once the ASICs do hit Kaspa, the big boys, then we will have to pull GPUs as well as these FPGAs off of Kaspa, because it's not going to be worth it anymore. So based on the current coins I have tested, I don't have ETC in here, but that's another one the E300 can mine. But here's our current profitability, current prices, current network difficulties, and so on. Kylacoin is about $4.74. Now this is before you take off your power price. Now 15% dev fee also kind of has to come off this. That is 71 cents. So we're sitting at about $4 and 3 cents or something before power cost, which isn't actually too bad here. Depending how you run this miner here, this is rated at the 16 gigahash mark. For Ironfish, we're at about $2.32, so it's not looking too hot. And Kaspa right now at 15 gigahash, we're still at $6.08. So we can still see Kaspa is the coin to mine on these E300s and most FPGAs, but we do have options emerging for when those Kaspa ASICs do hit. All right, guys, so that does wrap this one up. So let me know your thoughts and opinions. And if you are looking for an E300 and any of these FPGAs, I do have a link down in the description for the E300 series. Now, there are 3 different models, and I have 3 different discount codes. Be sure to use the proper one for the proper miner, or it won't work for you. And is it just me, or does Kylacoin somehow resemble Kadena somehow? So for some reason, I'm getting KDA vibes here on their website, looking at the coin symbols and so on. So maybe it's just me. Let me know down in the comment section if you guys are feeling the same. I don't really have faith in Kadena, but hopefully it does something again. See you on the next one. Rabid out.